Would you read this letter from a patient to you?
Dear Ellissa, finding light in darkness can seem almost impossible. Sometimes it comes in the form of memories or something tangible, but sometimes it comes in the form of another human. I believe that God sends people into your life to help you cope with your ever-evolving seasons, knowing what or whom you need long before you could ever figure it out for yourself. The light in my darkness came in the form of an ICU nurse whom cared for my husband while he was in his darkest days. A nurse that was there to hold David's hand while they intubated him and was there to hold my hand when they extubated him. I can't imagine that being an ICU nurse is ever an easy job, but in the days of this horrific pandemic, I know that they live through hell daily, and the good days are no longer a greater sum than the bad. August 13th, 2021. 4 days in the ICU. The anger on your face no longer able to be hidden, for you have seen far too many devastating ends caused by COVID-19. Watching your patients rapidly decline and knowing the possible outcomes has to be more than anyone can take. Still, there you were. You spoke with my terrified husband and allowed him to stay with me via FaceTime far longer than any other nurse would have. You held it together for us and explained each and every line, tube, medicine, beep of machine, and procedure to me. You took time out of your impossibly busy days to FaceTime me, remember the names of our babies, ask them about school, provide them with support and kindness, and even remember my birthday. You spent your days caring for David far beyond the scope of your job, washing and braiding his hair, bathing him, moving his limbs, keeping his beard nice, and bandaging his skin, and praying for him as if you'd known him for a lifetime. 19 days is how long you cared for him while I was away, and 15 of those were spent on a ventilator. August 27th, 2021. The loud ICU doors swing open as I hesitantly walk down the long hallway. The look on my face must have given away my fear as I was sweetly greeted with a warm smile. I muster up the courage to speak as I ask for room 4, while thinking how ironic that was David's lucky number. As I'm ushered down the hallway, the nurse taps on the glass of a room where another nurse is standing in scrubs and a light pink scrub hat. It's you. A new wave of nervousness washes over me as if I'm meeting a celebrity for the first time. You turn towards me and give me a smile that is even noticeable under all the layers of masks. In a matter of moments, you wrap your arms around me as if you're reading my mind. You tell me how lovely it is to meet me and walk me towards David's room. You slide the door open and stand with me while I walk in. The beeps of machines and the short bursts of air from the ventilator fill my head. My heavy feet step towards my husband, and I stop when standing next to him. The maze of tubes, wires, and machines surrounding him overwhelms me, and I look to you for guidance. You gently reassure me that I can touch him. As I reach down, I can barely get my hands to stop shaking. When my hands clasp his, I immediately feel faint and crouch down so I don't fall. Within seconds, you're offering me a chair, and as always, your unwavering support. August 30th, 2021. Your shift began at 7 a.m., but I'd been there all night. At that point, I knew that there were no medical miracles to be done, no hope, and no waking from this nightmare. All that was left was taking in every breath that my husband had left, feeling every heartbeat of his body and perfectly committing the image of his face to memory, taking in the touch of his warm skin and the most humble begging for God to welcome David into his kingdom. The door slid open, but I can't find the courage to lift my head. I hear you, your voice full of pain, as you wrap your arms around me again. I'm sorry, Danielle. I'm so sorry. I love you. You allow me time to sit as you explain to me with a shaky voice all of the damage that is done when your body's oxygen levels are in the 40s. Your words were kind in an impossible situation, and you brought me an ounce of peace in my husband's medical decisions. You prepared David for his last moments and stayed with me as my husband took his last breath and his heart gave way. You allowed me time with him after he passed. I laid on his chest, hearing the hollows of death, kissed his face as I hadn't done in over a month, placed my cheek in his hands, and said the hardest goodbye of my life. You greeted me as I walked out of the room, as if you'd been waiting for me the whole time. You left me with the most priceless gift in the form of a tiny glass vial with a rolled up piece of paper inside. On that paper is the printed heartbeat of my sweet husband, and on the bottle you wrote 8/30/2021, 9:14 a.m. You stayed with us from the moment you walked into the door that day until you ushered me out of those heavy ICU doors for the last time. You held my hands, prayed with me, and you were the bright light that guided me through our darkest of days. There isn't any language in which words will properly portray the gratitude I have for you, but this is my feeble attempt at hoping you know. I've always believed in angels on earth, but now I can say with certainty that I've met one. I love you too, with all my heart. It makes me happy for continuing to do what I do every day. When it's hard to find the light in all of this, it makes me happy to know that I made a difference in this woman's life. Because I too care for this woman so much, and it makes it worth it.